Hey everybody, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about one area of anxiety or life in general that can greatly improve your situation and your life overall. Before I get into the video, please like, please subscribe. I would love to get these messages out to as many people as I possibly can. Also, I did start a little community on Reddit, which is the anxiety community, same thing as my Instagram. So if you're somebody that is looking for a little bit of guidance, please feel free, join the community, ask questions, DM me, either Instagram, Reddit, doesn't matter. I'll be happy to help whoever I can. So with that being said, I think that your breathing is or could have been a major cause that led you to developing an anxiety disorder in general. Now, I've been reading recently a very good book on breathing. It's called Breath, and I believe the guy's name is James Nestor, who was the author of the book. Phenomenal book. Him and a colleague of his self-experimented with themselves through another medical office to really test what would happen if you did not breathe through your nose. If you never breathed nasally and you were always breathing through your mouth, they plugged up their nasal cavities for 10 days and only were breathing through their mouth, and they took down really the increases that happened in heart rates, blood pressures, sleep apnea, and a bunch of other things. So just I highly recommend checking out that book if you have not heard of it or if you're interested, if this video kind of sparks a little bit of interest in you. So believe it or not, there is a right way to breathe and a wrong way to breathe. I'm going to speak from my own personal experience. I was always somebody who, number one, didn't pay attention to it, but when I did start to pay attention to it, realized that I was number one, either breathing through my mouth, or number two, breathing through my chest. Now, you can see this if you want to self-experiment by just taking a day, trying to pay attention when you can to how you're breathing. If you're breathing through your nose, take note of your body and where your body is expanding. Is your chest the part of your body that's expanding? Or is it the correct way where your belly / diaphragm is what's expanding and taking in more oxygen? There are studies that are mentioned in this book to where if you breathe through the nose, you take in, I'm almost positive it was 16 times more the amount of oxygen that you do when you breathe through your mouth. So that's obviously going to get more oxygen throughout the body to the brain, to help your overall health. And there were people who believed, this is going back more toward like, ancient teachings and things like that, that when someone started to breathe through the mouth for long periods of time, that that opened the door for illness and sickness and disease and things like that. The two people in the book come across people who even said from different cultures than I, in America, who said that if someone breathes through their mouth, it's looked at as kind of like disrespectful. And people still adhere to the thing that you breathing through your nose equals good health. So anyway, they go through their studies and their experiment. And there are also breath coaches on Instagram, by the way. Like if you have questions, you can find them. You can reach out to some of them. Even myself, I've reached out to, spoken with. They're very nice. I won't mention a name here. But if you want to find any kind of names, you could feel free, DM me on Instagram or even Reddit, the anxiety community. And I'll be happy to help, again, whoever I can. But they talk about, breaths and how many you're supposed to, I guess the ideal amount that you could take in a minute. And from what I've heard, it's 5 to 5.5 seconds per inhale / exhale. So if you do an inhale for 5 seconds through the nose, through the belly, and then an exhale for 5 seconds, that's a 10-second full breath right there. So if you look at a minute, that's 10 times 6, you have 6 breaths a minute. And the one breath coach told me that's right about the ideal area for you to be. But if you're an anxiety sufferer, you're probably going to tend to be breathing many more times than 10 breaths a minute. You're probably not going to be taking in as much oxygen. You're probably going to be putting yourself into a state of hyperventilation, activating, the sympathetic nervous system, and then, you're just rinsing and repeating. And I think that's kind of it did definitely have a play in my issues as well, because like I said, when I go back and look back, a lot of my breathing was shallow, either breathing in through the mouth or breathing through the chest, never sitting there and taking full breaths in through the belly, and just kind of bringing myself down, making myself feel calm, feel grounded. And that could be a problem that a lot of people are having. But I will say, I do think that this is a lifestyle improvement that is simple, that a lot of people can implement immediately while they're going through the other. Because when you get to a certain point with anxiety and anxiety recovery, now a lot of things are starting to bother you. A lot of things are triggering you. A lot of things are causing you to do. So it's not as easy anymore. There are other areas that you're going to have to address, and that's really into my own philosophy of how you can help heal your own anxiety. It's not just going to be about meditation, and it's not just going to be about mindfulness. They're helpful tools for sure, but with me, it's more than that. I think it's a multi-dimensional approach that's going to look at your diet, your sleep, your exercise, sunlight, supplements, breathing. All those things kind of come together. And if you're lacking in any one area, it could be a huge contributing factor. Now, another example for me is when I was in the thick of my health anxiety battle, when I was having 200 or more ectopic or skip heartbeats a day, when I was feeling my heart beating all the time. I had numerous issues at the time. Like, my breathing was just one of them. But when I went to cardiologists and specialists, they would run tests and tell me, "Oh, well, everything is fine. Go about your business." There was just one guy, like Dr. Gupta from York Cardiology, that I spoke with, a couple of times, who I will praise for the rest of my days here, who just kind of opened the door to say, like, okay, so other areas of your life can, drip over into anxiety, for instance. Or the heart. I'll use the heart as a better example. So outside areas can, fall over and spill over into the heart, basically. So for me, I was 55 pounds heavier than I am now. Like, I've been on a weight loss journey as well throughout this recovery. So it started out with me where I was going to see cardiologists because I was like, okay, my heart's missing 200 plus beats a day. I feel my heart beating all the time. I'm having palpitations. I'm having all these kind of things. I'm thinking that I have some kind of heart issue. And nobody could tell me otherwise. No cardiologist or anything could tell me otherwise. But they would tell me nothing. I would get no information from them. They would just say, everything is good. Go on with your life, yada, yada, yada. And I know a lot of people have been through the same issues, but it's not that helpful for them. He actually had a video that opened the door saying, okay, well, if you have other areas, just say dietary, say that, caffeine intake, wine intake, all these other, stimulants and things like that can also be exacerbating heart-based symptoms. But then take that further, said your sleep can have a huge impact on heart palpitations, skipped heartbeats, all these kind of things, and make them worse as well. So I was like, okay, I was heavy at the time. I was probably 250 pounds. Now I'm 195. I got a sleep study done. It turned out at that point in time, I had moderate sleep apnea and had no idea about it. Okay. So that got me, okay, so now my body isn't resting. It's not getting, it's not getting replenished. It's not getting refreshed. So I'm basically running on zero, running on fumes throughout most of the days. So what do you think that's going to do to, your body and your hormones and all that kind of stuff that they're already kind of out of whack? I mean, everything is just going to get compounded, and it's just going to make everything worse. That actually was something that opened the door to me to make me realize, okay, there's other things really that can be contributing to why somebody is suffering from anxiety and heart issues and anything like that. It can be from something elsewhere that's just spilling over and causing additional symptoms elsewhere in your body. So that got me looking into things like, the sleep apnea was one thing, the sleep was one thing, the diet is another thing, what you're eating and putting into your body. I mentioned caffeine before. It's terrible for you. It's absolutely terrible for you. It just offers you nothing. It's a stimulant that you really wouldn't need if you were getting, adequate rest and the other areas of your life were in order. So anyway, that's something that, I could help you address if you feel the need it needs to be addressed. But back to the breathing, as I said before, there's a right way to do it. There's a wrong way to do it. Breathing in through the nose is the right way to do it. Breathing in for 5 to 5.5 seconds is that sweet spot. That'll get you about 6 full breaths a minute, and that will get you to where you need to be. So if you're somebody who can't sit down and, be alone with yourself just to breathe, I mean, you could do it while you're watching TV. Again, it's iBreathe app, I believe, is the one that I use. You can set up custom intervals for breathing, and you just set up 5-second inhales, 5-second exhales with 3-second hold in between, 2-second hold in between, whichever you want to do, or no hold in between, whatever's comfortable for you. And just do some reps with that. Start for a minute a day, and then the next week do it for a minute and a half. The next week do it for 2 minutes, and just build on that. So as now, I try to do it for 5 minutes a day sessions, twice a day, just to maintain that, just so I could get some, me time, sit down, breathe. I just kind of help bring myself back through breathing. So I think it's a very, very valuable tool and very underappreciated, underutilized tool for recovery overall, and not just coping. Another thing that I don't really like is everybody is just talking about coping with the anxiety and just maintaining. When I created even the page on Reddit to help people with anxiety, I went on other pages too to see what was going on, and they were talking about subreddits, and they were talking about just venting. Like every day was a post about what do you want to vent about today, and just nothing about overcoming anything. Just what do you want to complain about? But then I would just turn around and say, well, what is that going to do for you? What is that? That's not going to help at all. There's nothing beneficial. There's nothing informative. There's nothing that's going to, help people even get to stage 1 of thinking that, damn, I feel a little bit better today. Like I don't feel the same way. I feel like I have a plan. I feel like I can, take certain steps now. Like, okay, I feel like I can, okay, so breathing might be one thing. Okay, diet might be another thing. Are you somebody that's eating a lot of sugar? Somebody that's eating a lot of, caffeine, a lot of carbs, not enough protein, not enough, a lot of these things we take for granted, including myself. I was definitely one of them. I didn't pay any attention to diet. I didn't pay any attention to what was in anything. It was fine when I was younger because I had a really fast metabolism. I could burn off anything that I ate. But when you get a little bit older, your metabolism slows down. You're not as active. That really can come back to bite you. So it's another area, that people need to pay attention to. And I was also somebody that thought that, okay, so mindfulness and past traumas and traumatic experiences held so much weight, and I was always sitting there thinking, oh, it's got to be this, it's got to be this, it's got to be this. And it turns out, like, for some people, I 100% believe that that's the major problem. If somebody has big past traumas, sexual abuse, physical abuse, all those kind of things can absolutely be stored up in your body and cause issues. So those need to be resolved too, but that's part of, the puzzle that you have to figure out to determine what direction, do you want to go in. But while you're going in that direction, you can also start implementing other things to overall change your lifestyle to just make it more conducive for healing too. So I really wanted to talk about the breathing and just let you guys know that that's something that I really recommend, you give a long look at. Again, that the book that I was reading was Breath by James Nestor. Check it out, look into it, comment down below. Let me know if you've read the book. Let me know what you've taken away from the book. Let me know if breathing is something that you have ever even looked at or thought could be contributing to, the overall state that your body is in. Is it in a more anxious state? Is it in a more calm state? For me, I was always in fight or flight, 24/7, all day, every day, and that lasted for months. No breaks at all, from minute one to waking up to going to sleep, or to, when I was taking benzos in order to even go to sleep. It was a very rough period. So, I have absolutely sympathize with everybody that's going through it. If you're somebody that is going through it, try to take a little bit of advice from somebody who was through it. And it didn't take me multiple years, to get through that. It didn't take me, lifelong drug use, and I mean drug use in terms of benzos and things like that. You could get through it the same way that I got through it. I'm no different. When I was going through it, I didn't think that I would ever get through it myself. I thought that there was no light at the end of that tunnel. But I can honestly say, I don't have anxiety like that. I don't feel that way all day, every day anymore. That's kind of gone. There are other things that I'm still, working on and want to work on going forward, because I want to get to the point where I can say that I'm, living my best life. Whatever I have to cut out, whatever I have to work on to get there, I will get there. So I would challenge anyone else to do the same thing. Are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to give up caffeine? Are you willing to give up sugar? Are you willing to get more sunlight? Are you willing to get a little bit more exercise? Are you willing to do some of these breathing, techniques? Are you willing to look at, supplements? Are you willing to challenge things that you've been told before about what you think is healthy and not healthy, and all these kind of things? Like there's a lot. There's many areas that you can focus on, that you could sit down and think about and fine tune in order to get yourself to a much healthier place mentally and physically. So, that's all I have for you guys. If you have any questions about the breathing, any questions about who you can maybe even reach out and follow on social media to get certain information, if you're interested in getting guidance, please reach out, ask me questions, let me know. I'll be glad to help you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you all so much.